I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Gordon Chang of Forbes.com is here with me. Breaking news from the Washington Post, national news alert. The CIA starts delivering weapons, lethal aid to the Syrian rebels. The Obama administration for months has delayed this decision, but the shipments began, according to the Post, streaming into the country over the past 2 weeks, along with separate deliveries by the State Department of vehicles, other gear, a flow of material that marks a major escalation of the U.S. role in Syria's civil war. So now the United States is providing weapons, the Saudis are providing weapons, Qatar's providing weapons, Turkey's providing weapons and military intelligence, and on the other side, Russia's selling weapons, China's certainly making weapons available for the right price. North Korea is available for development and also digging tunnels. And then Iran. We welcome Michael Ledeen of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Michael, a very good evening to you. Isn't this fresh news about jaw and a peace will find a way in Syria, that the CIA is now suddenly revealing the fact that it's putting major weapon systems in the hands of the Syrians? How does Tehran hear this news? Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, John. Well, I mean, the story that we're arming Syrian rebels is an old story. I mean, I've been reading it for months. Is it finally true now? I mean, why should I believe it now? Everything I've heard from the Syrians all along is just moaning and groaning, saying these people keep promising us things and we never see anything. Anyway, perhaps it is now true at last. David Ignatius says that also. And he's pretty well informed. So what do the Iranians think? The Iranians have just sent yet another unit of Revolutionary Guards into Syria to fight on behalf of Assad. And it's certainly safe to say, I think, that if the Iranian forces were not there on the ground, that is to say both Hezbollah and Revolutionary Guards, Assad would have been gone long since.
So, Michael, we have the major powers arming the various sides in this rebellion, and at the same time, we have Russian, Chinese, American, French, and Italian ships in the Eastern Mediterranean. Does this start to worry you at all, or is this just show?
Oh, no, it worries me. The whole thing worries me. It's been worrying me for a long time, Gordon. We're in a global war. No one looks at it. I mean, this fact of ships from lots of different countries gathering in a single place, I'm sure is going to be repeated over and over again. But we've got a global war running from North Korea to Caracas, Venezuela. And there's a big anti-American network, coalition, alliance, and they're coming after us. And they're coming after us in every way they can.
Michael, the American people hesitate because of the president's request to punish the Assad regime for the alleged chemical weapons attack August 21st. Just that one. That's the president pointing to it, although the Secretary of State has alluded to other instances. We're going to focus on that. However, you include this metaphor in your column published in these last hours. What is the dog in the fight that America has punishing Assad for a violation of international norms, or however it's presented?
Beats me. I mean, I think it's the wrong question. And I think that one of the reasons why this debate has gone round and round in circles is that everybody's right. The people who say, well, if you just stand by and let chemical weapons be used, they're going to be used more and more. That's certainly true. But the people are also right who say, well, if we go in there, what chances do we have of making things better? It looks like none. And we have every chance to make things worse. That's true, too. But then on the other hand, again, if we don't do anything, then we lose credibility in the world, and that strengthens our enemies and discourages our friends, and they're right. And so I look at all of this and I say, well, it's the wrong question. The real question is, how do you enhance American national security? How do you enhance America's ability to cope with what's going on in the world? And the answer keeps coming back to square one every time, at least in my mind, and that is Iran is driving this. Oddly enough, if you focused on Iran and tried to figure out how to get a free Iran out of this, if you get a free Iran, then Assad falls. So you solve the Syrian problem without having to go round and round in those cycles and epicycles.
So, Michael, if you solve Iran, you then solve Syria. That I certainly understand. Is also the reverse true, that if Assad falls in Syria, that we solve Iran, or does that not work?
It certainly would have worked a while back. I'm not sure it works quite so automatically today, although the fall of Assad would be a terrible blow to Iran. No question. Big blow. Where do they put Hezbollah? What's their staging point? I mean, Damascus has been very, very important for the Iranians. There's that famous flight that goes Tehran, Damascus, Caracas, and back, carrying all kinds of things and people. We don't know exactly, at least I don't know exactly what or who. They're part of that network to launder money. They're in there with drug trafficking and weapons transfers and all the rest of those things. Syria's been very important for that. And it'd be a big blow to Khamenei and the leaders in Tehran, because they've been telling the Iranian people all along, everything's fine, Assad's going to win, not to worry, we're in control.
So to answer your question, which is really the critical one, what is the national security interest of the United States? Is it really that our interest is seeing Iran fall? And in order to have that happen, we need to see Assad fall. And so what we should do, whatever we say we're doing, is to make sure that there is regime change in Syria, to make sure that the Iranians are gone for good.
I think it's actually easier to get regime change in Iran than in Syria. Do it directly. All this talk of sending a message. All the Obama people have been saying, well, if we do something in Syria, it sends a message to Iran. It'll tell them that they can't get away with their nuclear program. But no, send it directly to the Iranians. Support their opponents. Support insurrection in Iran. The Iranian people hate the regime.
Michael, Rouhani is coming to the United Nations to talk peace, correct? Iran has won this in its mind, correct? We just have 30 seconds.
Yes, no question. Iran has won. We've run away. As Lee Smith wrote so wonderfully the other day, Putin took Obama firmly by the elbow and walked him out of the Middle East.
Michael Ledeen, writing most recently for Pajamas Media of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Gordon Chang of Forbes.com. Again, you can go to the internet and read for yourself that the CIA has started delivering weapons to the rebels in Syria. The CIA says. So finally, it's official. The way for peace is to give them bigger guns. I'm John Batchelor.